Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, I want to talk about a market that is insanely good right now due to the Dragonflight alpha and all the information going around Dragonflight and how to be a part and make gold with this trend. So first, I'm going to explain exactly what's going on, show you some of my sales, and then explain the easiest way to get into these markets. But as always, if you guys enjoy my content, I would love if you like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. It truly does help me out. But without further ado, here we go. So the market that I'm talking about are mounts, specifically crafted mounts. Now I know a lot of people are not going to like this, either because they've had a bad experience, they think it's too hard to get into, or too expensive, or whatever reasons. But I'm going to try to prove that that is not the case, and that you should actually take part of this, and there's going to be a few different stages, from beginners to a little bit more advanced. But before we get into that nitty-gritty stuff, let's just look at exactly why this is happening. And so the reason why mounts are doing so well is because of a new achievement that was found on the first day of alpha. And so on the first day of alpha, when looking at the game, they came across a few new collection achievements. And the one we're talking about today is the Thanks for the Carry, which is obtaining 500 mounts. So all the mount collectors were probably like, we got work to do, and people are going to be more inclined to actually mount collect. Now, not only did this achievement get a Wowhead announcement, it also was under controversy, because if you guys have probably heard, originally the mount that you were supposed to get for completing this achievement was a Yeti. However, people thought that wasn't good, and Blizzard just recently changed it to an otter. So not only did it have the standard publicity of just being a new addition to the game, it also had some controversy, which probably got more people aware of this achievement. And so if you are somebody who is a mount collector, or you really want that cute otter, you have to go and buy or collect some more mounts. And there's generally a group of mounts that people go to first. Now, the most obvious, easiest to get mounts are probably the racial ones. So, getting exalted with the goblins, with the blood elves, with the orcs, etc. But the second type of mounts are the ones that you can buy off the auction house. And that is where us gold makers come into play. So we have the jewel crafting panthers, we have the carpets, we have the flying machines, the mechanohawk, the different BFA mounts, etc. that people can just spend a little bit gold on and automatically get a new mount for their collection. And so that is what people have been doing exactly. If we go into my TSN ledger, in the last 14 days, which basically was when the alpha first came out, I have sold 10 mounts. So that is almost 1 mount per day, which, to give you some background knowledge, I am on a medium pop server. According to Radar.io, my medium pop has about 35,000 players, compared to somewhere like Area 52, which has 220,000. So selling 1 mount per day on this pretty, small server is really great. And as you guys can see, the main, sales comes from panthers. Now, the reason why these panthers are selling so well is you can relate them kind of like Crafter's Marks gear. If anybody has experience with selling Crafter's Marks, normally they come in pairs. For example, if you are selling novice gear, people normally don't just buy a helmet. They're buying helmet, shoulders, chest plate, pants, etc. And so that is what happens with these panthers. Now, that is not always the case. However, this player right here probably was checking out their armory, realized that they're missing 2 out of the 5 panthers, and then bought himself those 2 to finish out the collection. And we're going to see that happening a lot more often, especially as we get hyped for Dragonflight. And so this is where we talk about the mounts you can craft very easily. Now, I'm going to talk about a few with different difficulty levels, but I'm going to break this list down into the very basic ones that you can craft, which may take you 5 minutes to do, up to the ones that require a little bit of grinding. But all of this is geared towards beginners, and hopefully this helps you out. And so the first 2 items I want to talk about is the flying carpet as well as the flying machine. Now, both of these come from basic professions. So the flying carpet comes from level 1 Northrend tailoring. So all you have to do is go into Old Dalaran, so not, Legion Dalaran, but the Old World one, go to the trainer that teaches tailoring, and you will automatically learn the flying carpet recipe. Should take you no more than 5 minutes. And this same thing goes with the flying machine. You get it from level 1 Outland engineering, so you're going to have to go to Satrath City, then just go to the engineering trainer, or bookshelf I should say, and then the first recipe you'll learn is the flying machine. So yet again, it should take you maybe 10 minutes total to log and travel to those places. But the reason why I recommend these is because they are so cheap and they sell very, very fast. Now, the flying carpet definitely does better on my server than the flying machine, and it is cheaper to craft. Right now, on my server, it cost about 300 gold to craft the flying carpet, and I can sell it for anywhere between 600 to 1,000 gold. So, about a 400 to 800 gold profit, which is not insane, but it does add up. Now, recently, if you guys watched my ledger, you probably saw that I haven't sold one in the past 10 days. And that is because they were sadly crashed on my server. You know how that happens, somebody just comes in, posts it really, really cheap, and so I can't sell it. But just recently, literally today, it has recovered, and I'm expecting to sell a lot more. Whenever the market was good, I was selling at least a carpet every 2 days, which you could probably get almost a carpet every day, depending on your realm. It has a 0.15 sell rate, which is insanely high, especially for a mount. And the same thing goes with the flying machine. Now it's a little bit more expensive, it costs me about 5k to craft, but I can generally get a few thousand gold profit off of this. Basically, the same person buying the flying carpet would buy the flying machine, and they're just very nice entry mounts to sell. Moving on, we have the little bit harder to get mounts, and these are the Panthers. Now you're probably not surprised by this, as the Panthers are making me the most gold, but I will say this is very server dependent. I highly recommend looking up the price of Panthers on your server, because it's not going to be good for everybody. Also, you do want to keep in mind, if you're looking at the price of Panthers, is that there is an automatic 20,000 gold vendor item. So, for example, I sell a Panther for 33,000 gold. Automatically 20k of that is ripped out due to the vendor orb that I have to purchase. So, just take a look at your market before getting into this. But the reason why these are so good is, as I described before, these sell in pairs. So in total, there are 5 Panthers. We have the 4 colored version plus the 1 black version, which is the Onyx Panther. And, if somebody has none of the Panthers, they will probably buy, most of them, if not all of them, at the exact same time. So this all comes from one single reputation. So you're basically kind of completing one thing in order to get 5 different recipes. And to unlock these mounts, it will probably take you about 2 hours. These recipes come from the Order of the Cloud Serpent, which is a reputation in Pandaria. And due to War Mode and Chromie time, this is insanely easy to get reputation for. What you have to do is go into the Jade Forest, and on the island, which we'll see kind of on the outskirts of the Jade Forest, you are going to collect eggs. And basically, you need 21 eggs in order to reach Exalted with the Cloud Serpents. Now, if your Jewel Crafter is lower level, you can utilize Chromie time to jump around instances to try not to have any competition in farming. Also, if you're max level or low level, you can also take advantage of War Mode. So if you go over to farm and you have War Mode on, and there's some people farming, you can go ahead and turn it off and see if you're the only one there. And so the last market that I want to talk about is the Mechanohog. Now, if you are Alliance, this is called the Mechaneer's Chopper, but it's the same exact mount, it just has the different faction versions. Now, this mount also requires reputation, however, it is definitely the hardest on the list. The reason is that the rep grind has no super fast speed method, so you do have to spend a few hours grinding out the reputation. Now, depending on your faction, you either need to get exalted with the Horde Expedition or the Alliance version, which I believe is called the Alliance Vanguard, but I will double check and put it on the screen. Now, in order to hit exalted with these factions, there is a pretty simple method, and this is basically running the Pit of Sauron. Now, this is the same farm as the Battered Hilt, if anybody is experienced with that, but basically you just go into this instance, kill everything, and you will slowly get reputation with the Horde of Expedition or the Alliance version. I did this on my hunter, as my hunter is my engineer, and after a few hours, I was exalted. So it is a little bit of a longer process, but it's not very difficult to complete. And so, of course, this recipe is learned by Northrend Engineering, and it is pretty simple to craft. Once again, always check your servers to see if this is worth getting and farming, because you never want to farm for something for multiple hours just to realize that it's unprofitable, but I've had very good experience on my server so far. And yeah, there are a ton of crafted mounts. I completely left out a ton of the engineering ones. You have blacksmithing mounts, you have so many different mounts in this game, and please feel free to learn them if you'd like. However, these are just kind of 3 of the main markets that I want to highlight, as they have a pretty easy barrier to entry and they are doing very, very well. Throughout this week on stream, I have been talking about these sales, and it got a ton of others curious. And so those people actually went out and farmed for the Panthers, and people were talking about how they already got their first Panther sales. So this market is really hot right now, and as we continue to get hyped for Dragonflight, we will probably see more and more sales. The great thing is that these are all old world markets, so these will basically be good for the rest of time. So this is not just a 1 week thing, we are going to be able to sell these mounts, and they're going to be in demand for basically the rest of WoW's history. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will try my best to answer and help you out. But thank you so much, and have a good day.